This is the next part of our DevOps learning series, Web Engines in DevOps. Let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about PHP, which stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. Now, PHP is a very popular server-side scripting language, and when we say server-side, it means that the code runs on the web server before anything is sent to the user's browser. You can think of it like the engine behind a car. It does all the processing before you even see the results. PHP is mostly used for web development, especially when you want your website to be dynamic and interactive. Unlike plain HTML, PHP can interact with databases, handle forms, and even manage user sessions. One nice thing about PHP is that you can embed it directly into HTML, which makes it very flexible and easy to use. It works smoothly with web servers like Apache and NGINX. These servers execute the PHP scripts and send the final output to the client's browser. Now let's look at some of its main features. Open source and platform independent. You can use PHP on almost any operating system, and it's completely free. Easy database integration. PHP works really well with databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQLite, so you can store and retrieve data efficiently. Large library of built-in functions. PHP gives you a lot of ready-made functions to make coding easier and faster. Supports multiple programming styles. You can write PHP in procedural style, step-by-step, or object-oriented style, using classes and objects. Scalable. Whether you are building a small personal blog or a huge enterprise-level application, PHP can handle it. So, remember, PHP is like the backbone of dynamic websites. It handles all the heavy lifting on the server so that users get smooth, interactive web pages. PHP Modules. PHP modules, or extensions, are libraries that extend PHP's functionality, allowing it to interact with databases, handle encryption, manage file uploads, process images, and much more. We're taking a quick look at the different types of PHP modules you'll commonly use in development. Let's break them down in a simple way. Database modules. First, we have database modules. MySQLi lets PHP connect and interact with MySQL databases. PDO is another way to connect to databases, more flexible and secure, and it works with multiple database systems. Web and server modules. Next are the web and server modules. Curl is used to communicate with APIs or external services. MB string handles multi-byte character strings, basically useful when your application deals with text in different languages. File and data processing modules. These modules help you handle data. JSON lets you encode or decode JSON. XML works with XML data, and zip allows you to compress or extract zip files. Image processing modules. For working with images, PHP includes modules like GD for creating or editing images, and ImageMagick for more advanced image manipulation. Security and encryption modules. Security is critical. OpenSSL helps with encryption and decryption, and Hash allows you to generate secure hashes like SHA-256. Session and cache modules. For sessions and caching, Session is used to manage user sessions, while Memcached is useful for speeding up applications through caching. Other useful modules. And finally, some additional modules. SOAP is used for SOAP-based web services, and International supports internationalization, helping your application work with different languages and formats. These modules together make PHP powerful, flexible, and ready for real-world applications. Let's continue exploring how they work in practice. PHP is a versatile scripting language designed for server-side web development. Its functionality is greatly extended by modules that enable database interactions, image processing, API communication, and more. Understanding and using the right PHP modules can significantly enhance the capabilities of your applications. How to list installed PHP modules. Now let's see how to check which PHP modules are enabled on your system. Modules are like add-ons or features that extend PHP's functionality. For example, a module for working with databases or handling images. Command line check. PHP equals lists all enabled PHP modules. Using a PHP script, PHP print_r get loaded extensions. Adding PHP modules. Debian, Ubuntu, sudo apt install PHP, any module name. Example. Sudo apt install PHP MB string PHP curl PHP JSON. RHEL, CentOS. sudo yum install PHP module name. Introduction to NGINX. NGINX is a web server that can also be used as a reverse proxy, load balancer, mail proxy and HTTP cache. Main components. Configuration, NGINX.CONF, virtual host. Reverse proxy, load balancing. Complex to develop as it has a sophisticated architecture to handle multiple connections concurrently. 2.5 times faster than Apache and consumes less memory. Supports all Unix OS and Windows, however, performance on Windows isn't as stable. Configuration, NGINX.CONF, NGINX is instruction manual that controls how your web server runs. The NGINX.CONF file is the main configuration file for the NGINX web server. It is used to define server behavior, manage traffic, and configure modules for handling requests. This file is critical for controlling how NGINX serves web content and interacts with clients. Structure of NGINX.CONF. The file is organized hierarchically into blocks. Main context, global settings, settings that apply to the entire NGINX server. Example, worker processes, error logs, and PID file location. Check the example configuration for more understanding. Events context. Configures connection handling, including worker connections and event-driven settings. Check the example configuration for more understanding. HTTP context. Contains directives for HTTP traffic, including server blocks and global HTTP settings. Example have been included for your reference. Virtual host. A virtual host is a way to run multiple websites on a single server. It allows one server to host many websites, with each website having its own domain name, like example.com or mysite.com. The server uses virtual hosts to know which website to show when someone visits a particular domain. You can think of it like apartments in a building. The building is the server, and each apartment is a different website. Server blocks. Used to define settings for individual domains or virtual hosts. Check the example configuration for more understanding. Location blocks. Define how to process specific URLs or file paths. The example is available in front of you. NGINX Virtual Host explained. The server block. This is the core container for defining a virtual host. Everything inside this block applies to a specific domain or IP. Listen 80. Tells NGINX to listen on port 80, HTTP. Default server. Makes this the default site if no other server block matches. 80. Enables IPv6 support on port 80. Root directory. This is the base directory where your website files live. NGINX will look here when serving files like index.html. Small diamond index files. Defines the default files to serve when a directory is requested. NGINX checks them in order, first match wins. Small diamond domain names. Specifies the domains this server block responds to. Both domain.com and www.domain.com are covered. Small diamond logging access log. Records every request to your site. Error log. Captures errors like 404s or server issues. Small diamond client upload limits. Limits the maximum size of client uploads. Example, file uploads. Here, it's set to 20 megabytes. Redirect behavior. Prevents NGINX from using the server underscore name in redirects. Useful for security or consistency in multi-domain setups. Small diamond location block. Handles requests to the root path. Try underscore files checks. If the file exists, $RURI. If a directory exists, $RURI. If neither, return a 404 not found. SSL. Secure Socket Layer is a standard security protocol that establishes an encrypted link between a web server and a browser. This ensures that all data transferred between the server and client remains private and secure. SSL is the predecessor of TLS, which is the more modern and secure version of the protocol, but the term SSL is still commonly used. How SSL works. Handshake. When a browser connects to a server, the server presents an SSL certificate. The browser verifies the certificate's validity and authenticity. Encryption. Once verified, the browser and server exchange keys to establish a secure, encrypted connection. Data transmission. Data transferred during the session is encrypted, making it unreadable to unauthorized entities. Components of SSL. SSL certificates. Digital certificates issued by a trusted certificate authority, CA, to verify the identity of a website. Public and private keys, used in encryption and decryption to secure communication. The private key remains on the server, while the public key is shared. Session keys. Temporary symmetric keys used for encrypting the actual data once the connection is established. SSL In Practice. Installation. Obtain an SSL certificate from a CA like Let's Encrypt, DigiCert, or GlobalSign. Configure the server, example Apache or NGINX, to use the certificate. Common SSL ports, 443. Default port for HTTPS traffic, SSL, TLS encrypted. 80. Default port for HTTP, non-encrypted. An example of SSL configuration in Apache has been included for your reference. SSL and TLS. SSL, older protocol, less secure. Versions SSL 2.0 and SSL 3.0 are deprecated. TLS, successor to SSL, more secure and modern. Currently TLS 1.2 and 1.3 are in use. Types. Domain validation. Verifies the ownership of the domain. Organization validation verifies the organization's identity and ownership of the domain. Extended validation. Provides the highest level of trust by validating extensive details about the organization. Add-on. Wildcard SSL. Secures a domain and all its subdomains. Multi-domain SSL. Secures multiple domains under one certificate. Domain-validated certificates are used in automated X509 certificate issuing systems, such as Let's Encrypt. Domain-validated certificates are often cheap or free. Domain-validated certificates can be generated and validated without any documentation. Most domain-validated certificates can be issued instantly, in less than a minute, via special tools that automate the issuing process. Organization validation. The organization validation SSL certificate from the Certificate Authority, CA. The user or organization needs to submit the business documents to the CA. The types of documents required depend on the CA. If the CA finds the documents in line with its requirements, it will approve the request and issue the certificate. But before verifying the documents, the CA verifies the domain ownership of the organization. For domain verification, the CA can go with email verification, file-based verification, or can verify directly from the domain registrar's information. Note: make sure the domain registrar's information is public. Extended validation. An extended validation (EV) certificate is a type of TLS, SSL certificate that verifies that the certificate holder has undergone the most extensive level of vetting and identity background checks to certify that their website is authentic and legitimate. EV certificates are often required for high-profile brands, banks, and other Fortune 500 companies. Extended validation means the certificate recipient and their website have completed a 16-point check to verify details such as website domain, website owner, and the applicant's legal, physical, and operational existence and identity. Let's set up SSL. NGINX installed. Ensure NGINX is installed and running on your server. Domain name. A fully qualified domain name, FQDN, pointing to your server's IP address. Access. Root or sudo access to the server. Install Certbot and NGINX plugin. Ubuntu, Debian, apt update. Refreshes package lists. Certbot. The Let's Encrypt client. Python 3 Certbot NGINX. Plugin to automate NGINX configuration. RHEL, CentOS. Apple release. Enables the extra packages for Enterprise Linux repository. Yum install. Installs Certbot and NGINX plugin. Amazon Linux. Same steps as RHEL, CentOS. Amazon Linux is based on CentOS, so the process is identical. Next step. Obtain SSL certificate. Once Certbot is installed, this will automatically configure NGINX. Request and install SSL certificates. Set up auto renewal. Check the example configure of NGINX for more understanding. Obtain an SSL certificate. Use Certbot to automatically configure NGINX and obtain a certificate. Run sudo certbot nginx. Certbot will prompt you to enter your email address. Agree to the terms of service. Choose whether to redirect HTTP to HTTPS. Certbot will automatically update your NGINX configuration with SSL settings. Check the example of obtain an SSL certificate. Verify SSL installation. After Certbot completes, verify that your site is accessible via HTTPS. Open your browser and visit example.com. You can also check the SSL certificate using online tools like SSL Labs or SSL Shopper. Pro tip for our DevOps engineers. Continuously track your web engine's performance through advanced monitoring tools. Implement real-time logging, automated alerts, and comprehensive metrics, including CPU utilization, memory consumption, and response latency, to ensure optimal system reliability and efficiency. In DevOps, every millisecond of uptime counts. Optimizing your web engines isn't just about code, it's about reliability, trust, and delivering seamless experiences. Each tweak you make today prevents downtime tomorrow. Thank you for your attention. To be continued. The lecture isn't over. Part 3 will arrive soon.